Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, April 5th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now, it has been an absolutely beautiful first week of April here in Boston. Now, obviously, that's not at all true. If you can see the window behind me as I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon, the weather's been terrible, and if you're here in New England, you know that this has been a typical New England weather. We had a huge nor'easter the last couple of days. The weather's been terrible, but hopefully it's looking up from here. For those of you who are snowbirds thinking about coming back up to New England, you might want to wait another couple of weeks. I think by the time we get into mid-April, things should be good. But in all seriousness, this week is more or less an update for all of you on some things that are going on, some reminders, also a preview of our May 2024 newsletter, The Voice. It just went into the mail this week, but before I get to that, let me first remind everyone that this past Wednesday, April 3rd, marked the beginning of the State Group Insurance Commission's annual open enrollment period. Open enrollment lasts from April 3rd all the way through Wednesday, May 1st. This is your one annual opportunity to make changes to your health insurance or your dental coverage if you are an enrollee of the GIC. Now, if you are enrolled through a municipal insurance plan, there are different open enrollment periods depending on where you're enrolled, what type of plan you're enrolled in. So keep an eye on any information that might come from your local insurance provider or from the insurance company itself, such as Blue Cross. They will be notifying you when and if an open enrollment period opens up. But generally speaking, again, open enrollment is the one time a year, if you choose to, you can make changes to your plan. There are other times you can also make changes, and those coincide with major life events. So for instance, if you turn 65 and you need to enroll in Medicare and then pick up a Medicare supplement plan, obviously that is something that happens randomly throughout the year, coinciding with your birthday. You can make those changes at that time. You don't need to wait for open enrollment. Marriage, those types of things would also be what's known as a qualifying event that would give you the opportunity, if you needed to either make changes to the plan or enroll in the plan and so forth. But again, generally speaking, the month of April into the first week of May is GIC open enrollment time. Now, this go round, there are no major changes taking place through the GIC. All of the plans that are currently being offered will be offered again for FY25. There also are no major plan design changes, and there are no changes in copayments and deductibles whatsoever. And as you read in the newsletter, the GIC made the wise choice, we believe, to hold firm on out-of-pocket costs and instead spread out the health insurance cost increases through the insurance premiums, which the Commonwealth, as well as the cities and towns that participate in the GIC, pick up the lion's share of that cost. Now, if you are enrolled through the GIC and if you're happy with your current coverage, there's nothing whatsoever that you need to do. Just simply sit tight. You don't need to fill out any forms. You don't need to notify anyone of anything. Just sit tight. But if you do want to make a change, the easiest way for you to access your current benefits and learn what options are available to you is over the internet. So if you have access to the internet and you're comfortable on the computer, you can go to the GIC, the Group Insurance Commission's website, access the My GIC link portal. You log in. You first would need to set up an account through them. It's pretty easy to do. You log in, you see all of your benefits and what's available to you, and you can make all of those changes right online. Short of that, you can contact the GIC directly through that information. In our newsletter, which again is on its way to you right now, will be the telephone numbers for the GIC and for the various insurance plans that are offered through the GIC. So we're going to get all of that information to all of you as early as possible. That way you can make an informed decision. But the most important thing for you to remember is if you're happy with your current coverage, there's nothing you need to do, nothing whatsoever. You don't need to call us, you don't need to call the GIC. Just sit tight. If a new insurance card is issued, you'll receive the card sometime during the month of June prior to the start of the new fiscal year on July 1st. The second thing I want to remind all of you of is that we have an area meeting coming up this coming week on Thursday, April 11th at 11 a.m. We will be at the Leominster-Fitchburg Elks. It's post 1237. The information is contained in the newsletter on page 3. It's also in today's email blast that all of you should be receiving from us every Friday morning. So if you're in the general Leominster-Fitchburg area on Thursday, it's not on Friday, it's on Thursday at 11 a.m. Come on by, say hello. This is a great opportunity for you to meet directly with us. If you have any personal questions or problems related to your retirement that you need help with, this is a great way to see us face to face and have that personal conversation. Our meetings are open to all association members. You're welcome to bring a guest. We'll also have a Q&A and a drawing of a door prize at the close of the meeting for those of you who are in attendance. On page 3 of the newsletter is a complete listing of upcoming events through the month of June this year. So we're going to be in the greater Boston area at Florian Hall in Dorchester. We're going to be down on Cape Cod in June. So all of that information is contained in the newsletter on page 3. Now, speaking of the newsletter, let me grab the copy of it. It just arrived in our office this morning. Here it is, hot off the press from our Union print shop, Standard Modern, down in the Fall River, New Bedford area. They do a great job. I also want to thank our design partners, Chameleon DG. Both Chameleon and Standard bent over backwards this go around to make sure we could get this out the door to all of you as early in the month of April as possible. Again, this newsletter in particular is important in that it contains a lot of information relative to the GIC's open enrollment period. Also information that is going to be useful to the House and the Senate members as they begin the budget process later this month and into the month of May for the Senate. So it's always a good idea for us to get this out the door quickly. And if it wasn't for both Chameleon in putting this together and making it look so good, as well as Standard and just expediting the printing process, it wouldn't be possible. So thank you to everybody who we partner with to get this done. Now, as I said, the newsletter went in the mail on Wednesday. Some of you may have already received it by the time you're watching this video or by the time you get the email message from me on Friday morning. But you can look forward to, again, a lot of really important information about your retirement. We also believe that this newsletter contains some pretty good news about a few things going on. We also have some warnings, so to speak, or some things that we're concerned about going forward with. If you've been watching the videos over the last few weeks, or certainly if you've been reading the email messages over the past month or so, you know that we have a growing concern about the affordability of healthcare in general. That concern is going to remain, unfortunately, for the foreseeable future. So you're going to see and hear us talking quite a bit about healthcare affordability and how that relates to retiree health insurance plans and the challenges that exist going forward. But at the same time, we want to celebrate the good news. And leading off this newsletter is very good news relative to the state's PRIT Fund. The PRIT Fund is the Commonwealth's pension fund. It invests all of the pension monies of state employees and retirees and teachers and retired teachers, as well as nearly 100 municipal retirement systems have some, if not all, of their local pension assets invested through PRIM as well. The PRIT Fund earned 11.4% in 2023. Now, this is great news, but it comes off a negative down year of about 10% in 2022. Now, why this is important is that we are on the verge of launching a new COLA study commission. The objective and the task that this commission is going to be assigned with is finding a way to fund meaningful COLA base adjustments and creating a new senior COLA for long-term retirees. So the better the retirement systems are doing, the more money that's coming in, and if we're exceeding expectations in terms of earnings, it makes that process that much easier to achieve. If we're going through another negative year, it's just one more hurdle that we have to overcome. And as you've heard our president, Frank Valeri, and myself say over and over and over again, we strongly believe that the success of our retirement systems must be shared with the retirees. You're the beneficiaries of these trust funds. The success of these systems should be shared with you, and we're going to continue to do all we can to advocate on that point. Now, moving on through the newsletter, we have, again, a lot of great information, starting with a large section looking back on the success over the course of Ralph White's career as our association's founder and our former president. The things that Ralph was able to do in his lifetime are nearly impossible, if not entirely impossible, for us to replicate. He was a force of nature. Back when this association was first founded, most of these retirement benefits were brand new. A lot of the benefits that we take for granted today did not exist at all. And it was Ralph and the folks he was working with at that time that really drove the ball forward and were able to accomplish some really amazing things. And we wanted to make sure that we gave credit where it's due. And as we're remembering Ralph, we wanted to spell out some of the highlights, so to speak, of his wonderful career. And you can look forward to reading about that in the newsletter. We also talk about the new executive director at PERAC. John Parsons retired after 5 years at the helm of PERAC. Billy Keefe, a good friend of ours, is the new executive director. Congratulations, Bill. So we talk a little bit about Bill Keefe in the newsletter. We also have a full reporting of our legislative program and a status report on the bills that are moving forward through the legislative process. We also put the spotlight on veterans legislation. We have several veterans bills that we're cautiously optimistic that we might be able to get over the finish line this year. We're working very closely with the legislative leadership on these bills. So we thought it would be an opportune time, particularly with Memorial Day coming up, less than 2 months away at this point. We wanted to focus on our veterans legislation and put the spotlight there. We also want to make sure that people are aware of the new estimated retirement benefit program that the State Retirement Board recently rolled out. This has been a major focus of Frank Valeri as your elected representative on the state board for a number of years. So we are very excited that this new program is up and running and that new retirees should not have to wait quite as long to receive their first retirement check as a result of this new program. We also have a brand new executive board member who just joined our team here at Mass Retirees, Larry Sullivan, a retired state trooper, was just named to the executive board. So there's an article on Larry, so you can learn about Larry. We also have an article talking about the new developments with the IBIS telehealth platform and some new initiatives that we're very excited about that IBIS has launched. And finally, and of no surprise to anybody, we have a full report on the most recent developments when it comes to the Social Security WEP and GPO. This continues to be a long-term critical part of our work here at Mass Retirees that we're constantly focused on, along with a number of other things. I don't have a lot of new information to report, but we do have a full update of exactly what we know at this time contained within the newsletter. So if you are a member of our association, and I hope you are if you're watching this, please look to your mailbox over the coming days. You'll be getting the newsletter in the mail. If you're watching the video and you're not yet a member of Mass Retirees, please join with us. You can join through massretirees.com. At the top of the webpage, a couple of different links, one for retirees who could become full members of our association, but we also have an associate member program for those of you who are still working or maybe are a deferred retiree and you haven't yet started to collect your pension, but you're thinking about it. Our association is a great source of information and a resource to you as you're starting to think about and plan for your retirement. So we have that associate member program. So again, if you're watching the video or if somebody forwards you our weekly email message, please consider joining with us. It's all about strength in numbers. The more robust our association's membership, the more effective we're going to be on everybody's behalf. And last but not least, I want to thank those of you who have already responded to the call of action that we mailed out earlier this week. The first week of April marks the start of our annual fundraising campaign for our Political Action Committee, the Retired Public Employees Political Action Committee, our PAC. It is a vital part of the work we do here on your behalf. Contributions to the PAC are completely voluntary. However, we do hope all of you will consider making a small contribution. The PAC is the political arm of Mass Retirees. We are a nonpartisan association. The only criteria we look to in deciding which candidates for public office, for instance, we're going to support are those who support public retirees. It doesn't matter if someone's a Democrat or a Republican, a liberal or a conservative, or what their views may be on issues that are not specific to public retirees. We represent everybody. Our only focus is on the issues of direct importance to our members. So retiree health insurance, the cost of living adjustment, defending our defined benefit pension system, things like that. That is our sole focus, and the PAC goes a long way toward allowing us to achieve our goals. So the PAC notice, the email notice just went out on Tuesday. We've already received donations from several hundred members. Thank you so much for your support and your dedication to our association. We also have a paper mailing going out for the PAC that should arrive in your mailbox somewhere around the middle of this month, so please keep an eye open for that. If you're so inclined, we would deeply appreciate any support that you can give us through the Political Action Committee. But with that, I'm going to sign off for this week. Hopefully the weather gets a little bit better over the coming days, and we will be back to you next week with the latest news and information relative to your retirement. Thanks, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye.